Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Relene Marks, your host, bringing you the top stories from Israel every Monday to Thursday on this platform and on our YouTube channel. We are at the Israel Brief. Make sure that you subscribe and keep up to date with the latest headlines. After several months of having COVID-19 be our top headline, it has finally been knocked out of top place. And let's discuss the events that have led up to it. The IDF remain present on the border with Lebanon, and a tense calm ensues at the moment after yesterday's flare-up. Just shortly after we finished recording yesterday's edition of the Israel Brief, in which we mentioned the fact that there could be a possible Hezbollah retaliation in response to an alleged fighter being killed by the IDF. Well, yesterday there was an exchange of fire and two groups infiltrated from Lebanon into Israel. They were taken out by the IDF, and one of the groups had the intention of firing a Cornet or anti-tank missile towards Israeli tank positions. There was an exchange of fire, and before that, residents within the perimeter of the border were asked to please remain safe in their homes. At the moment, there is a tense calm, and last night, taking to Israeli television, Prime Minister Netanyahu and Defense Minister Benny Gantz, who have been closely monitoring the situation in the north, mentioned that any attempts to invade Israeli sovereignty, any events that try to harm Israel's citizens will be dealt with by the IDF with a resolution and without a respite. And at the moment there is a heavy troop presence on the northern border, and we expect a few days of attention. Hezbollah have denied any events taking place yesterday, and the Lebanese president has said that flare-ups along the border are contributing to a great instability for his country and for the region. And we don't think that either side wants any kind of escalation, but the message from Israel's side is very, very firm. We stand prepared, we stand strong, and we will not take any bridges or breaches, rather. My English seems to be failing me today. Must be the heat of our borders. In other news, we have to take a look at where Israel is currently with COVID-19, and today we have increased the amount of tests that we have carried out over the last 24 hours. Earlier today, event hall owners, performers threatened to start operating without the permission of the Knesset. The Knesset have released a statement later during the day saying that they will discuss the possibility of reopening these platforms. It has resulted in a lot of anger, a lot of unrest across the country, as many people are expressing their dissatisfaction against the government and their anger at the impact that COVID-19 and the restrictions and the seeming lack of direction that the government has with handling this crisis. But in good news, it was also announced yesterday that a US-based pharmaceutical firm that is ready to begin testing possible COVID-19 vaccinations will be carrying out human testing in Israel. So we really, really hope that this is a significant step towards finding a vaccine. We have no updates yet on the proposed travel plan, but we will keep you updated. So let's take a look at those stats. From the start of the global pandemic, 63,985 people have tested positive, with 474 fatalities. At the moment, 36,378 people are positive, 311 in serious condition, and 27,133 people have made full recovery. Now, all eyes are on the United States as we get closer and closer to the next presidential election. Will it be Trump versus Biden? But one thing is for certain, there is a lot of concern about where the Democratic Party's positioning with regards to Israel is, and there committee that drafts the platform, they have announced that they will not condition aid based on the possibility of Israel annexing or applying sovereignty. This motion was passed 117 to 34, a very, very clear majority, which has sent a message to Israel and also to the American electorate that as far as Israel is concerned, the country still enjoys bipartisan support from both Democrats and from Republicans, and they also vetoed putting more harsh language with regards to Israel's treatment of the Palestinians. Now, over the last couple of months, we've heard a lot of noise from rookie Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and Ilan Omar and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who've been pushing for this kind of legislation, and yesterday it was voted quite substantially, a very, very clear majority, that no, the Democratic Party firmly stands behind Israel. So those are the top stories making headlines. We will continue to watch the situation on the border with Lebanon very, very carefully, and we really echo the sentiments of leaders on both sides, where we really don't want any kind of escalation or flare-up. But remember, you can check out our content online at www.layoftheland.online. We're also on Facebook at Luttle Site. Give us a like, give us a follow, and share our content. And after the 48-hour Twitter walkout resumes, which should be sometime tomorrow, depending where in the world you are, you can follow us at Lay of the Land with the number 5. And don't forget to subscribe to the Israel Brief. So after a very, very hot and exhausting Israel Brief today, it's very, very hot here in Israel in the middle of a massive heat wave. I'm Rolene Marks, wishing you all a safe and healthy day, and we'll chat again tomorrow.